This classic Whistlestop presentation is brought to you by Out West. Love the West? So do we. Click the icon or go to scvoutwest.com.
Wait now, friends and neighbors. Here comes Whistlestop in stereo. Welcome to Whistlestop, TV's original train and dollhouse magazine. I'm John Gilgreen, and I'll be your host. Or as they say in railroad lingo, your engineer at the throttle. Whistlestop deals with all forms of railroading, from full-size trains right down the line to HO and N-scale models. Through the magic of state-of-the-art television, we'll be traveling coast to coast to bring you interviews with train personalities, stories, train rides, scenes from exciting museums, plus special features on the building, painting, and furnishing of dolls' houses, plus many, many other places, some you may want to visit on your next vacation. Don't go away. The Whistlestop Presidential Special will be pulling out after these messages.
You're about to see a real-life car train accident in Duncanville, Texas. A Dallas news team rode this locomotive and got some once-in-a-lifetime shots. Why am I telling you this? The victim you saw was me. I made a mistake, but I was lucky. Don't you make that mistake. Obey the signs and rules at railroad crossings.
Observe the lifesaver signs. When it's a tie in a race to a grade crossing, everybody loses.
So, without further delay, come on. Up aboard the Whistlestop Presidential Special. Our first scheduled stop is San Gabriel, California. And Academy Award-winning retired Disney animator and full-time contributor to the Toy Train Operating Society, Ford Kimball, as he gives us a tour of his Grizzly Flats Railroad and toy train collection. The Grizzly Flats Railroad has been called by its owner the scenic wonder of the West. It is America's first privately operated full-size backyard railroad. Founded in 1938 by Ward and Betty Kimball, this unique assortment of hobby railroad Iana has grown through the years until it now consists of over 900 feet of 3-foot gauge track, a 3-stall engine house, 2 Baldwin locomotives, 6 pieces of railroad stock, hand cars, water tank, 1880 wood windmill, and toy train museum. Ward is an Academy Award winner, retired Disney animator, director, and producer. Ward worked on such Disney classics as Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Pinocchio, Fantasia, Dumbo, Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, Mary Poppins, and many, many more.
Welcome to the Grizzly Flats narrow gauge railroad, 3-foot gauge. I'm standing on the back platform of our one and only passenger coach. It was built about in the early 80s, somewhere around there. We're just getting through with repainting it for the second time. First time we restored it in 1943, and now we're just got a few things left to do. The fancy designs to go here, and of course the marker lamps are old style.
This passenger coach is an 1881 X Carson in Colorado. Acquired in 1938, it was the last passenger coach of the Southern Pacific narrow gauge.
Here is the pride and joy of our steam equipment on the Grizzly Flats Railroad, this Baldwin 1881 Mogul. Used to run on the Nevada Central Railroad. It was going to be cut up for scrap in the late 30s, 1938. Found out I could buy the whole locomotive for $450, scrap iron price. And they're glad to get rid of it because they didn't have to cut it up. 2 of its sister locomotives went to the Railway and Locomotive Historical Society in San Francisco, and they are now all restored in beautiful condition in the Railroad Museum there. Now if you follow me back here, you can get an idea of what it looks like. This locomotive has 42-inch drivers and was used for hauling both passenger trains and freight trains between Battle Mountain, Nevada and Austin, a mining town to the south. The great thing about finding this old Baldwin locomotive and bringing it down here was that most of it is in its original condition, except for the nice paint job. I'll get up in here and look out the cab. The original name of this particular locomotive is called Sidney Dillon. He was then, in the 80s, the president of the Union Pacific. When I got it, I changed it to Emma Nevada, which sounded a little more Western, and she was also a great opera star in the Victorian age. This locomotive had only its pilot missing and the original headlight. This great old wooden cab was all original, still on the locomotive. They hadn't replaced it by a steel cab, which they often did as they modernized their equipment. The only thing we had to find was a headlight. We got a Baldwin headlight. We had the blueprints from Baldwin Locomotive Works from which to fashion the new cowcatcher or pilot, and it had its original bell. Everything is wonderful about it. Most of the things like the tender truck and the bell still on the locomotive. I'll give it a ring. It's got a wonderful tone. People ask me, what's this thing doing on an old locomotive? What does it hold? Candles or something? No, these are for flags. Green flags or white flags. They're very ornate. That's what's so beautiful about an old locomotive of this sort. The number 2 is merely the road number. That doesn't mean that it's the second locomotive made by Baldwin. Of course, having my own locomotive, I figured it should have a picture on the side, but actually pictures on headlights were before the Civil War. This particular oil painting I did shows the spirit of fortune in the West. You can see the cornucopia and the locomotive and the buffalo and the gold coins flying out. The picture on the engineer side represents my painting of the spirit of discovery. The young lady is floating through the air, and the pioneers are going across. The true pioneer spirit of the train, the covered wagon, and the Pony Express. The name Grizzly Flats for our whole operation here on the big train started because that was the name I gave my little quarter-inch scale equipment that I started building when I went to work at Disney's. And I wanted to pick out a name that sounded California. So Grizzly Flats was actually a mining town up in the Motherlode. Nothing was left of it in the 30s, but it was still shown on the maps, and I thought that would be a great name for my model railroad and subsequently the full-size railroad, the Grizzly Flats Railroad. This is our smaller locomotive. Came over from Hawaii, we restored it, and it's a lot of fun. It's a wood burner, very clean. The small people don't worry about it like the coal burner. And same gauge as the large Baldwin. In fact, this is a Baldwin also. And it's like a little toy almost. It has wonderful proportions. It was used in the islands for hauling sugar cane. We rebuilt it to a different style without the tank on it. And I'll show you a picture of it here, and you can get an idea of how the builder's photo looked on this particular style locomotive. You could either order it with a tank, saddle tank, or without, with the water on the back. Remember, I discussed what these things were about. They're really flag holders. When we run the small locomotive, we always bring out the appropriate flags, and it's a little patriotic touch.
Don't go away, there's another part to this presentation brought to you by Out West. Shop, look, and listen right here at WhistleStopUSATV.com.